There's always talk of a European referendum. Each major treaty, there's been talk as to whether there should be a European referendum, and now Cameron has promised a European referendum if he wins the next election outright. However, the referendum talked of is not necessarily the best referendum, because, unfortunately, like most referendums, you can only really have a yes-no question if you're just going to use a most votes wins referendum system, rather than some sort of single transferable vote system or something like that. Instead, by having a simple yes-no referendum, the one always said that we should have on Europe is in or out, and it is always called an in-out referendum on Europe. However, this seems like a extreme and unnecessary dichotomy, because the thing we don't really want is an extreme reaction to what is probably a complex problem. And by having an in-out referendum on Europe, you will split a campaign into two sides. The outside will say they last gave you a referendum for a common economic area in 1972. And look what's happened since then. More European rules, more European influence, and a gradual attempt at ever closer union. A United States of Europe kind of malarkey. Now, they're going to say, they'll give you this one referendum if it happens and Cameron wins and etc. The out campaign, let's call it, will say you'll get this one referendum, and that's your one chance to stop basically a European superstate running your entire life in every conceivable way. On the other hand, the no campaign will point out the massive amount of trade we do with Europe, the links we have with Europe, the fact that the European Union has been a benefit to science and to education and to European peace and stability. Will basically go with the idea that you'll destroy the economy, you'll destroy thousands of jobs, you'll destroy industries, you'll stop things being based in an English-speaking country on the edge of Europe, you will cause future European conflict. Both sides are hyperbolic, and both sides aren't really thinking about a logical best solution for Britain. Both sides are thinking about winning their vote. Unfortunately, that's the problem with a simple yes-no referendum. And my opinion on it would be that you need a more complex referendum. Maybe some sort of alternative vote system within a referendum, maybe a system where you give choices, or a system where you don't have an in-out referendum, you have a in-more, in-less referendum. That would seem like a better idea. And if we vote for in-less, then maybe in the future we can in-less again. Or even out. It doesn't seem like a good idea to just suddenly change. However, the counter-argument to this will be that a treaty change will be attempted before the referendum. However, this will still be attempted by the Conservatives, hoping that the idea of a referendum will strengthen their bargaining position. A single failure of a single government to make a change that they promised they'll try to renegotiate things to be better, although how in a club you renegotiate things to be better without other people feeling that you're just making things worse for them. The failure to effect change, say, here's a referendum, things are ever so slightly changed, or you can leave, is much more likely to go for leaving because it's going to seem like a failure. My broad opinion is, if the world was a more unified place, things would be better. However, I do not necessarily think the European Union is a fantastic institution in itself, especially as it's bureaucratic and undemocratic. Those are my thoughts.